Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. So Heckler & Koch has long been a leader in the firearms industry, particularly in handguns. They're often very innovative, but it took them an awfully long time to come up with a subcompact 9mm defensive carry gun. And they finally have. It's here now. This is the CC9. And it is, shockingly, a polymer-framed, striker-fired subcompact pistol with about 3 inches of barrel. Imagine our surprise. Now, it does come optics ready. It has the typical trigger dingus as a safety, which works quite well. It's very positive. And it's not obtrusive in use. Picatinny rail under the front. Basically, it has all the features we would expect of a pistol in this class. And again, it's no surprise. They're not breaking any ground here. The sights are a dot front sight and a blacked out rear, which is typically very much my preference. This one is fitted with a night sight. And takedown is by a simple side lever. It's very easy and intuitive, and we don't really need to go into that because if you can't take it apart, you probably shouldn't be buying a handgun. The standard magazine holds 12 rounds. 10-round magazines are available for benighted ignorant states. And it feels pretty good in the hand. The grip's a bit on the small size for large hands. And I will tell you this for nothing, if you have large hands, you really want the Pinky Rest magazine. Because without it, it's really not that good for big hands. It's not awful, but it's not wonderful either. Where this really stands out is in the trigger. So before we take this to shooting in the tabletop, I will mention a little incident that happened at the range. When I first took this to the range, I had just loaded it up and was getting ready to fire it. And Bob, the range officer, came out and said, "Hey, do you want to do your rapid fire qualification?" I just renewed my membership. It's just a standard thing. Members have to qualify to shoot rapid fire. And I said, "Well, sure, let's give it a try." I've never shot this gun before, but what the hell? And the rapid fire qualification is not that arduous. But I qualified very handily with my first shots out of this gun, which gave me an overall favorable impression. So let's have a look at what it's like to shoot and then move on to the tabletop. All told, between 2 visits, I put about 150 rounds through the gun. It was all just factory range ammo, but it never showed the slightest problem of an issue, and frankly, given Heckler & Koch's reputation, I'd be surprised if it had. The recoil impulse is similar to other compact, subcompact 9mm, although the very ample beaver tail area here does a good job of distributing that so it's pleasant to shoot. So let's go to the tabletop and have a look. As befits a subcompact gun, it is quite small. Now, one thing they've done that I really like, they didn't go with the flappy paddle mag release. The mag release is ambidextrous and can be operated from either side and works well. Now, you can see the optics mount, very nice as a standard feature. Front sight dot is quite reflective. I had a little trouble with it on the range, but not much. And overall, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect it to be. The trigger pull is, trigger dingus is pretty unobtrusive in firing. You come to a wall, and then you have a very short, crisp 4.5 pound trigger pull, which is nice. The reset is not overly long. That's not bad at all. And, you know, it has the features you would expect. It does have a ambidextrous slide release, which, unlike a lot of ambidextrous slide releases, is pretty easy to use. And that's nice. You can see there are adequate, but not overdone, forward serrations. Good for press checks and going all tactical. And overall, it is a really decent example of the type. Now, a logical comparison would be the Glock 43X, but I don't have one. However, I do have an analog or clone, which is the PSA Dagger Micro. And they are virtually identical in size. The beaver tail sticks out a little further, and the grip angles are different. But overall length and size is pretty much the same, as is the thickness is extremely similar. Now, the H&K is a little heavier in feel than the Dagger Micro. But, you know, overall, it is a good representative of its class. One thing I will mention is it has a 1911 style grip angle rather than a Glock grip angle. And a lot of people, me included, find this more intuitive to use. So that's worth thinking about. The texture is not overdone. It could, in fact, from my perspective, use a little more texture. But overall, it's okay. It's pretty comparable to a Glock 43 or this PSA Dagger Micro. And I have not yet, this is my EDC, and I have not yet seen the need to enhance the texture on the grip. It does have a small registration pad here, and it's just enough that you can feel it with the trigger finger. It's not terribly effective as a gas pedal, but on this class of gun, that's not a serious knock. So there it is in brief. And of course, to take it down, you operate this lever, slide comes off, barrel comes out in the conventional fashion. That's all pretty standard stuff. Now, it is quite comfortable to hold for me, even with my large hands. And the beaver tail area here is quite adequate and does provide a good feel. And it's, you know, it's a good, solid micro. Or not micro, subcompact. So, was the HK CC9 worth the wait? I don't know. You know, it's a good gun of its type. And HK has an excellent reputation for quality. I had this apart. All the fit and finish, everything is what you would expect of Heckler & Koch. And it's just a good, solid subcompact. I think if you're an HK fan, you will not be ill-served by buying this pistol and using it. And the price point is, you know, it's competitive. It's fine. And that's really kind of the whole thing about this gun is everything's fine. It doesn't really stand out to me in any particular way, but your mileage may vary. I would definitely suggest renting one and trying it out if you have the opportunity and are in the market, because there's no reason not to. And I think some people will find the grip angle and the grip shape very comfortable. I mean, it is small for my hand. It's still very comfortable with the tow hook on the magazine. So it's good. There's not that much more to say about it because it doesn't really stand out in any particular way. The trigger pull is quite good for a subcompact. It's more comparable to a Koenig or a Walther than a Glock. And it's very nice to use. So that may be a plus for you. But to me, there's nothing here that would make me inclined to switch. Parts are better, parts are worse, but nothing is bad. And I think it's genuinely worth a look if you're in the market. So, thanks to my supporters on Patreon. It's very much a shoestring operation, and your contributions help more than you know. I'd also like to thank my channel benefactors, those individuals and businesses who have helped make this work in so many different ways. And a final thought occurred to me that I meant to mention. Dimensionally, the woman that is allowing me to present this to you carries it in a Filster Enigma holster, and she's quite slender, and she has no issues concealing it. And I think the rounded grip shape and grip angle may help a little bit with that. So that's just the final last-minute note that occurred to me as I was wrapping things up. So, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you again real soon.